Part 4. Selling your sitcom. 4.1. Hell no, that's my show. I was going to call this section From Script to Screen. I didn't, mainly because I wanted the chapters all to follow the format Something Your Sitcom. But also, the title would have been too optimistic, giving a false impression that it's just a process or a matter of time before your script ends up on the TV screen. There isn't really a process. Not in Britain. There are customs and widespread practices, but nothing is set in stone. You might get a series commissioned from a script. You might have to make 2 pilots before a channel controller begrudgingly lets your show go out. In America, with networks at least, there does seem to be a strict regimented process. This is all because advertising space needs to be sold. Fair enough. Amazon and Netflix are chipping away at this model, and that's all good. Is their system better than the haphazard British shambles? Who can say? We can't change the system, so we must deal with the harsh realities of life and learn the lesson. And there is a brutal lesson round the corner, so let's deal with it here. You've been slaving away on your sitcom script for months, maybe years, and lo and behold, there it is, on TV, or spewing out of your radio, starring Paul Whitehouse and Alison Steadman or whoever. Someone's beaten you to the punch with something similar to your idea. They haven't nicked it, they just got there first. You're angry right now, I get that. Given your rage and disappointment, you will find this show to be inferior, flawed, stupid, badly made and unfunny. Let me give you some time to grieve. You done yet? Okay, the bad news is that's not all the bad news. All is not lost. Here's the thing. And you'll need to brace yourself because I need to let you in on a secret. Ready? They were never going to make your show anyway. Sorry, not because it's a bad idea or badly written, although maybe it's a badly written bad idea, or a well-written bad idea, or a badly written good idea. Let us remember, hardly any pilot scripts actually get made. The BBC is sent thousands every year, as are independent production companies. Also bear in mind that tens of thousands of students have graduated with BAs or MAs in screenwriting in the last few years alone. There are a lot of scripts out there. And most of these scripts don't get made, and most likely never will. They can't be. Situation comedy is one of the most expensive forms of television, costing at least $250k per episode. It can be made for less, but it tends to look a bit rubbish. It can cost more. But here's the point. A series of 6 is going to cost $1.5 million. There aren't many channels that can afford to make a sitcom, especially given that most shows, for various reasons, tend not to work very well. I say all this to put your work in perspective. You may well have been reared by Disney and Pixar and watch movies that preach that if you really believe in yourself, you can do it. You can compete with people who've given their lives to being good at something and do it better than them because you may not have experience and contacts, but you do have talent and self-belief. Cue swelling music, a victory parade and cries of "You did it!" while the experienced pro curses, hits sidekick and stomps off, roll credits next to animated outtakes. This is not how the unanimated world tends to work. Every now and then, some young hotshot or complete outsider writes a hit sitcom, and that's great. They capture a moment or an attitude at just the right time and it works. These are the exception, not the rule. And it usually turns out they've been writing since they were 11 or had a lot of help. And that's as it should be. Writing sitcoms is incredibly hard. This is not intended to depress you. It's all about realistic expectations. To succeed in writing a sitcom takes ages, especially TV. I've been working in the industry for 15 years, and in all that time, I've sold 1 TV show. 1. Just 1. In all that time, I've worked on other TV sitcoms that I did not get commissioned. My Hero, My Family, Citizen Calm, Miranda. More on writing on other people's shows in later chapters. I've sold 3 radio sitcoms, Think the Unthinkable, The Pits and Hut 33, where the odds of succeeding are a bit better. More on writing radio in the next section. But bear in mind, all 3 sitcoms were cancelled before I wanted them to be. Moreover, despite my experience, track record and award nominations and all that, I regularly attend meetings that don't go anywhere, pitching sitcoms no one wants, and sending follow-up emails that aren't even acknowledged, let alone answered. I had that a couple of months ago, a meeting with a big TV production company where I pitched an idea they liked. I wrote it up and sent it to them, and heard nothing. Still haven't. It happens to all of us. Here's the other thing about your script, and you won't like this either. Ready? Your script isn't actually that good. Again, it's nothing personal. It's just that most scripts aren't all that good, including my own. especially if it's an unproduced first draft or pilot episode. There's no point getting grand about this. Remember the Hemingway theory of first drafts? He wrote first drafts like the rest of us, and thought his weren't all that great. Who are we to disagree? Not least because we never read them. Brace yourself one last time. The experience of seeing your idea by someone else is painful, but not uncommon. All these other people who've stolen a march may be better connected and more experienced, and the whole thing seems desperately unfair. But Hemingway's still here, and he's telling you to man up. He might have morphed into Ron Swanson, I can't quite tell. Either way, we all need to realise that if we're aspiring to have our work on national TV or radio, we are in with the big boys. If you have a show that you think is perfect for BBC Two, remember you're competing for budget and airtime with Paul Whitehouse, Armando Iannucci, Sue Perkins, Joe Brown, Mitchell and Webb, and all those people who are funny and talented and have consistently proved this over at least a decade. Victory is possible. The fact is, you do have a realistic crack at a slot of primetime television. You need to bang out about 5,500 words on a word processor. The choice and order of that words takes time, passion, experience, heart, tears, soul and pain, and that's just for the first draft, and we already know about that. But it can be done. The number of script initiatives and competitions suggest that you might have inadvertently knocked out a script that could be your ticket to winning the sitcom lottery. Your script is not a lottery ticket. At best, the script is a ticket into a large and confusing nightclub which contains strange people, odd conventions and a few secret rooms that most of us don't know about. Moving on. As for that script you've already written, let's think about some positive ways forward. Firstly, let's check a few things. Are your shows really the same? What's your show about? And what's the show that's already on telly about? Are they really about the same thing? The setting may be superficially the same on either show. Both shows are set in, say, a betting shop. But is your show really about gambling? It shouldn't be. It should be about a gambler, which is not quite the same. Maybe your show is about an optimist or a dreamer, or a brother and sister, or a stage of life. Could the characters that embody this meet in a universal location like a pub or a flat? Does it really have to be set where it is? It could be movable. And moving it might be the best thing you ever did. Room for two. Your show might be a masterful cocktail of character, situation and story, making a magnificent melange that can't be moved or changed. But it might feel sufficiently different from the other show, so the similarity may not be a problem. Recently, the BBC had two sitcoms set in schools, Bad Education and Big School, as well as a drama called Waterloo Road, and the 4 O'Clock Club on CBBC. And it's not a problem. They appeal to different audiences, so there may be hope. It's unlikely that one channel would show a comedy about exactly the same idea, but we do have more channels buying original comedy than ever before. BBC One, BBC Two, BBC Three, BBC Four, ITV1, ITV2, Channel 4, E4, Sky One, Sky Atlantic, Sky Living, Dave, UK Gold, Comedy Central, Netflix, Amazon, plus BBC Radio. But let's not get carried away. There are lots of channels, but competition for these channels is intense, and I repeat, you're going for the same slot as Harry Enfield's or Jennifer Saunders or Sam Bain and Jesse Armstrong's sitcom. You're in with the big boys. So what's the point? The point is that you have a script. And the setting is not the most important thing, it's all in the execution, as they said to Charles I. Your script should be demonstrating that you can execute an idea in a half-hour script with memorable characters, original stories and funny jokes. This script is a sample of what you can do. You're not just trying to sell a show, but yourself. This script is all about opening doors for you. Make your script work for you. Let's picture our producer sitting at her desk with a pile of scripts. She is someone who needs writers. She may have a sitcom in production that needs writers. She may be assembling a team of writers for a new thing that you don't know about yet. She may be open to lots of ideas, maybe even the one you've written. Whatever the outcome, your script needs to show her that you can write. So here's a reason to be cheerful. If your script is any good at all, they'll phone you back. They'll want to meet. Writing a sitcom is really hard. It's black magic, and anyone who shows any sign of being able to pull a rabbit out of a hat, dead or alive, the rabbit that is, will attract some interest. Send out your script and you might get invited to write on shows that are already on TV, or types of TV or media that you hadn't considered writing for that you end up enjoying, especially if you get paid for them. Or it leads to constructive meetings which create fruitful relationships, through which you learn key information so you know what your next project should be. It might be an untapped area that appeals to a particular rising star that this producer has access to or has been trying to find a vehicle for, and in a world you just happen to know a lot about. Your script might show that producer that you are just what they're looking for.